Thokozani tribe, Thokozani bokokona bomkulu, Thokozani beloved, Thokozani my people. Send your greetings and kindly let me know where you are at so that in what I am teaching, because there is gonna be some Guni language I'm gonna use to try and extract from the language the depths of the things I'm trying to articulate, because we know that sometimes, actually I wanted to show, let's do this. Yes, let me go low so you can see my beautiful um, sweater that I was gifted and that I'm really grateful and appreciative of. It's a gift from Josie Nwanabadimu. They're on Instagram. They make beautiful sneakers. I'm going to be getting my sneakers very soon. We need to be supporting our own. We need to be supporting local stuff as much as we can. Yes, there's nothing wrong with infusing it with other global brands, luxury brands, but let's also support, because these messages, they mean a lot, because we're trying to reinforce an identity which was demonized, and sometimes we need to be continuously be seeing messages. Tokozani, I'm great, I'm really great. We do members from Katlehong, Amaku, watching from Durban, KZN, beautiful. So that's great. So we all are very well aware of what today's topic is about. And it's one that was on the list of topics that I was going to unpack. But I thought, since, well, yesterday I did a conversation. I don't know who tuned into the conversation, speaking about Uptagati, witchcraft, sorcery. It was Uptagati, sorcery, witchcraft, and what is that about? And we didn't even get to the different types of acts of witchcraft. I used one example to try and emphasize the principles around what it means being a healer and what it means being a witch. Oh, we've got somebody from Brazil. That's lovely, because the reason I'm asking where we're coming from, so that I'm not only using South African contexts to explain certain things, because African spirituality is the mother of all forms of religion. That's where all forms of religion were born from. And then when I'm using examples, I can also use examples from global community that people who are not in Africa can also relate, or people who are not in Africa or by birth or non-Africans, but are also very fascinated about the teachings, because I always say that we are, all the children of this continent. Africa is the cradle of humankind, meaning all forms of races come from this continent. And also kindly remember that as Coco Dinawa, I teach from my own lived experiences. Hence, certain topics I don't really want to talk about, because I haven't really had a lived experience. And lived experience, either I myself experienced it, or I have worked with people who've experienced it, or have seen and encountered it somewhat. So it's very important, because I feel like by sharing and teaching from that perspective, there's integrity and respect that I bring in the teachings, because sometimes we get so excited we want to teach, but we jeopardize the sacredness of the practice. We end up oversharing or revealing things that are not supposed to be revealed, therefore scaring people. We really scare people with how we're saying, because I think everybody means well when they're sharing experiences or they're sharing stuff online. I think it's all well intended. However, the problem is that sometimes in us needing to really teach, we can overcompensate by oversharing or being biased or making assumptions, all sorts of things. So I'm always I'm very cognizant of, also I can be that sometimes, and hence that I take a bit of time to speak to certain things I've been asked to do about the different ancestral cloths. I said Spirit has not said yes, because I'm realizing that there's a lot of us who are coming out to say we're healers. We don't know anymore who's genuine and who's not, and hence we all get put under the same umbrella, and we are called, we all painted with the same brush. And today I'm gonna actually distinguish for you, so you actually know that even when you go and consult somebody who says is a healer, and they start enticing you, or they start putting forward propositions, or you start asking them things that are on the norm, and they have a willingness to do it, then you can decipher for yourself if this person is a healer, or this person is a healer of light, or this person operates in the dark. Because education is important, because then we can make informed decisions, because at the end of the day, we are all responsible and accountable to the choices that we've made. It might have not been the best choices that we have made, you know, it might have not been the best choices that we have made. However, we learn from our mistakes, but certain mistakes can be very deadly, and they could be very expensive. So it's very important for us to be aware. I started doing online teachings when I was realizing that mainstream media platforms were not sufficient spaces where I can actually continue doing the teachings that I'm doing, because I was invited into those spaces, radio, TV, because whomever I encountered, because I never went knocking at doors, in my practice room as my patients, or through somebody who they would be seeing a gift that I wasn't aware that I had as Ukhuthwala, that the way in which you express things, the way you explain things, the way you articulate it, it is simplistic. Even people who don't know what this world is about, you make it easily accessible, and there's a lot of empathy and compassion that goes with it. Then I got invited into the radio platform. So I've been doing teachings, you know, to the public since 2014, when I started first at ETV with Umas Chaba and Ndlovu, went with her to Power FM, and we for 2-3 years we had a regular weekly slot which was called Heal Your Life with Ukhuthwala, and it covered a variety of topics around spirituality, not only ubungoma, but as we always know that spirituality is so diverse. Ubungoma is one aspect of African spirituality, and because spirituality comes out alive through a lived experience, I have never stood and say I speak on behalf of all sangomas, because we are all called by different ancestors. Yes, they somewhat connect in the heaven realm, meaning in the world of spirit, and they become one, but how they also operate is different. Hence, certain people would be okay with doing certain things, whereas for me, I wouldn't be okay in doing them, and they wouldn't be okay with me doing certain things. But there are some underlying principles that we are all governed by, that holds us accountable to the practice which we have signed up for, which is to become healers. Remember, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Share this on your Insta stories, on your Facebook, because some people might need to be hearing what I'm going to say tonight. Because it is time we continuously challenge stereotypes, assumptions that are made about African indigenous spiritual healers. NgesiZulu kuthiwa singabalaphi bendabuko. And I love it ngesizulu because it abalaphi. Uyini umelaphi. So umelaphi is a healer. I said this yesterday on 702. I said a healer is one who makes well that which is not well. A healer is a mender. A healer brings together that is broken. A healer is an enabler. A healer does so with the principle of not imposing it's their will upon the one whom is seeking things to be made well. It's one who does so without imposing the will of the one who's seeking help upon the other who has not come into the space of healing to seek healing. A healer works from a place of consent. So when there is no consent, means that you cannot then go and facilitate, because people did not sign up for those things. Consent by a third party whom the person who's coming might be seeking, because we know we've got our loved ones who are sick and stuff. I don't do it. I would say, please, this person needs to give me consent, because they're an adult who is consenting, even though there might be experience, but I need them to participate, because then it feels like I am imposing my way, and you who's seeking help is imposing their way, you know? So let's remember, this is a community where we show love, light, compassion, respect, because this is a space where we are learning, growing together, enlightening together, inspiring us together. So this is not a space where we're going to be throwing judgments, but it's a space where we're going to speak some uncomfortable truths, and it might make certain people uncomfortable. And I say discomfort is a call for change, because when something needs to shift, it creates discomfort. The topic at hand is Ukhuthwala. So I do not want anything else outside Ukhuthwala, and I'm going to ask you, yes, you can comment. Please do not ask me questions as yet, because I need to be able to focus so that I can follow my train of thought properly, and you can be educated. Once you have listened to me, then you can be able to ask the questions, because you might be asking me a question and you're throwing it forward, but I'm going to be covering it, because sometimes when we listen to interrogate, we listen not to understand. When we listen to understand, we keep quiet and we pay attention. Open your spiritual ears as you are hearing me here. Open your spiritual heart so you can receive the messages very well. Kindly subscribe, like the video. We've got about 330 people. Like and subscribe, because it helps with the numbers. I don't know what it's called on YouTube, but it helps with people accessing this, because this is not an exclusive. This is a public teaching where I'm saying I'm educating, enlightening. I'm not here to critique and interrogate what other people are doing, but I'm here to enlighten, that you who is listening, who is considering, who is doing, can make an informed decision, because every action has a consequence. What we plant, we reap. That's what karma teaches us. So when you are experiencing certain things, you can't see it and say, oh, but I didn't know. You're not going to leave the same person as you came into the stream. You're going to leave informed, you're going to leave enlightened, educated. So when tough times call, or when, things start to fall apart, you make an informed decision about what is it you want for yourself, about what is it you want for you. I hope you are following me. I hope you are with me. Hey, Marcos. And angifuna nokubhema isniff namhlanje, because I want to be heard very clearly. So let me explain. Abalaphi bendabuko, meaning African indigenous spiritual healers. Indigenous means that it's deeply rooted in ancient practices that have been passed on from one generation to the other. And then I say I love it ngesizulu ngoba it's abelaphi bendabuko, meaning ukuthi what and how we work is not only based on these times, but there is some Asian wisdom that we draw upon, the wisdom of our ancestors, alive and those who have passed on as well, in order for us to perform healing. And there's different kinds. And I've alluded to this before, but I'll say it again because it's going to contextualize the conversation today. There is then izangoma. Izangoma are those who are called into the gift of healing. The key function of izangoma is to be intermediaries between the living and their ancestors. The key, not the only thing. To be the intermediary between the living and their ancestors. Way long time ago, that's all they used to do. You would go to isangoma and they would go, it's like a Google search where they would go and find information about your current situations or your experiences, as to why are you experiencing what you're experiencing, by listening to what your ancestors are saying to them about your predicament. However, now izangoma can do that and do other things, meaning they can also prescribe and facilitate treatments. Whereas back in the days, you would then have to go to inyanga, igedla, ngakachipu, a herbalist. You would go to a doctor who is a sangoma, be prescribed treatment or medication, traditional medicine. Then you would have to go to one who is going to then say this and this and this, because the isangoma would say, so this is what is troubling you. This is why things are not working. This is why you are physically ill. This is why you are not feeling well. Then you need to go see Usbanbani, 3 streets down the road. They're going to help you because they know how to treat that element. You go there and you say, hey, so, knowing that what is wrong. And then, because izangoma, what we do not treat a headache. We treat the root cause of the headache. We don't treat swollen feet. We treat the root cause of the swollen feet. And I don't want to say what that is, because people are going to get distracted and start asking me about, what about a backache? What about an eye? What about itchy feet? I don't want to say that. I'm saying when you have a headache, we ask why. How come is that so? Because by treating the root cause, we are actually curing the disease at its roots. So, and then there is traditional surgeons, there is midwives, etc., etc. So to become a sangoma, you have to be gifted and called to become one. To become other things, it requires a bit of a gift, but you can have an interest and go learn about traditional medicine, their usages and stuff, because that information you can access from somebody who is trained. But you cannot be an intermediary if you are not called to be one. Because when you come to Isangoma, before you even tell me what is wrong, I already start to pick up things about you that are messages from the ancestral world to say, I am feeling, this is what you are experiencing, this is what is going on. Those who've consulted with me can testify that that's how I work. And that's how a lot of sangomas also work. From my own understanding and knowledge, and from my understanding as ukobela when I train. You cannot come and train and become isangoma because you like it. Because it forces you to not only be in the physical, but to also step and be embedded in the spiritual. And to do that, your ego has to die. So a lot of us are quite egotistic. We attach to a false sense of ourselves. That's what ego is. And that's what leads a lot of izangoma to start to tap into the dark side. Remember, when uyi sangoma or uyi umelapi, when you say ngumelapi, it means you are healing. You are bringing harmony. You are bringing balance. You are not bringing destruction. You are not bringing havoc. You are not bringing pain. You are not bringing death. The minute you move away from bringing harmony, because we are the ones when there is destruction that we bring harmony, you now fall off what we call omelapi to umthakathi. NgesiZulu ngithi umthakathi uwumhlakazi, umqaphazi, uwumlulazi, yabo, umuntu omoshayo, umthakathi. Even though ungabe ukuthi uthi ngiyisangoma ngithwasile, yebo, you might have idlozi, but the minute you start tampering with the dark side, you are imposing your will, you are doing things without people consenting, you are now wanting to push your own self-preservation agenda. Ususu umthakathi. It's a very thin line. Anyone can be umthakathi. The minute you wish evil upon the other, the minute you are harboring long-term anger and resentment, we as Tagat herself, you are drinking the poison. The minute you are wishing and sending curses and criticizing people for nothing and always saying something negative and toxic towards somebody else, that is toxicity. That's what uptagati is. Yes, the extent, the intensity of it might be different and might vary depending on what you do. But ukhohlakala. Evil is evil. I hope you are following me, beloveds. Remember to like, share the video, make sure people are tuned in, because I'm going to get to Ukhuthwala. And my intention, I'm not going to be here describing different ways of Ukhuthwala. What purpose is that going to serve? You need to understand what the implications of Ukhuthwala are. And you need to be able to understand the consequences of your actions. That's what is important. Because I cannot go into details of buying sona, so angizenzi mina ngithwalisi. Angithwalisa abantu. So I don't know how to do those things. These are the things I learned when ngisephehlweni. This is the things I have experienced when people come endumbeni bathwele. They need help to cleanse themselves of the things that they've accumulated. Now the burden is too overbearing and life is not pleasant as you assumed it would be pleasant, because money cannot buy you love. Money cannot buy you happiness. All those things are things you have to self-cultivate. Hence you come to a place of saying, I feel content. So understand that. And we have done a series of different things. I've done a series of abortions, miscarriages. I've done idliso, which is another form of ubutagati. I said that the last time. So let's understand that this series of education and enlightening is so that when you are finding yourself at a crossroad or at a predicament, because sometimes when we are desperate, we can be easily manipulated. Sometimes when we are desperate, we fall for everything and we lose our backbone, we lose our sense of morality, we lose our character, we act out of character. So this is to make sure you are enlightened, because life ukthwasa, life is a rebirth, and rebirth is very painful. The sharing of the old and for the new. We always go through relationship breakups. You find that you're not having as much money as you. Life happens. You are not immune to life's experiences, otherwise you will not be growing. That's how we grow. We grow from loss, we grow from pain, we grow from things, because if things are the same, it means they're stagnant, they're not moving. But whenever there has to be growth, there has to be shift. When a tree sheds off its old leaves, it's growing because new ones have to come through in the next season. We go through seasons. You can't always be at a peak season. No, you can't always be at a high. There is a time for everything. So you now do understand what I just differentiated. That the minute you start to go and work in the dark, we cannot come and define you as isangoma. When you malpractice as a doctor, you lose your credentials as a practicing medical doctor. When you malpractice as a teacher and you act out of the code of conduct and the oath that you have taken, you get stripped of those credentials. The education will not go away. What you have learned will always remain with you. But your integrity as seen as a practicing doctor that heals gets taken away. You get written off by the Medical Health Council of South Africa, even everywhere in the world. But your education remains with you. Your understanding of disease, your understanding of the biological and the biomedical, that will not go. So you can still continue doing backdoor practicing, calling yourself a doctor, because you've got the knowledge. The knowledge does not get taken away. So similarly, when we sangoma and you start malpracticing as a healer, it doesn't mean you then the knowledge and the indigenous knowledge systems being passed on gets taken away. You can still call yourself isangoma. But do we regard you as one when you are creating havoc? There's death, you are part of cults? I don't think so. Let's be very clear on that. I don't think so. Because you said ngomelaphi, ngizolapha, ngizowenza kahle, ngizolungisa, ngizolekelela. So, and also we need to be very cautious of just us assuming everybody who tells you is isangoma is one. Because where there is a booming market and there is a demand, there are opportunists. Just because umuntu faka mabai or wearing beads and claims to have twasat, says indeed they are one who has twasat. Because when you go ephehlweni, there are principles and code of ethics that are embedded in you. I will tell you what I was told mengibuya. Ezinye kuthiwa umthetho weshoba. This is how you carry yourself. These are the ethics in which you carry yourself. One is, as isangoma, you can't stay angry for too long, because you are then inviting energies and spirits that would feast on that anger. And those are the energies and spirits of distractions. Ama energies wobthakathi. You are taught ukuthi isangoma asihambe silwa. You don't go fighting on the streets and telling people. You don't threaten people. You don't tell people ukuthi mina, me, I'll show you who I am. I was taught those things. I was taught ukuthi you don't go out and ube sestraten ngama pijama ubamba mafiga and go and you are busy swearing and cursing at your neighbors. This is what I was taught. I was taught ukuthi whatever happens in Dumbeni is in Dumbeni. You don't go uthi yabona ukuthi uqeda ukuphuma manje kuso. Hence, with me, the people who have come out and said ngisangoma sabo, who are public figures, is because they said it first. I don't go like, oh yeah, I work with this one and then this one and this one and this one. You know, I don't go like I'm all powerful. I'm not powerful. I'm a vessel of power. And being a vessel means guti, anyone can be given that power if you don't contain yourself and continuously rechecking yourself as a container. Hence, I say I'm not the same person I was when I first became a sangoma. I am always work in progress. When I make mistakes, I need to learn and do better. As I know better, I do better. Ngiyakhula namehlozini. Even my ancestral kids will tell you, those I started with them, they'll tell you I was very strict and harsh, and others are saying I'm getting softer, but nyakula, I'm becoming better. I'm sure I know better. So let's understand those things as well. So there is things you are told and taught. You are told ukuthi as sangoma, you don't tagata. You don't go when somebody has done you things, then you don't go phahlela abantu emsamo. Ubatshele ukuthi mina ngizonibulala, no, but you protect yourself. You facilitate protection, you facilitate connection, you facilitate blessings, nenhlanhla. So when sikhuluma ngokuthwala, when I say ukhuthwala ngithi, when, you know, because I've been accused ukuthi ngithwele. You know why? Because what I did for our field of practice was something that was historical. Yes, we've had sangoma come on TV once in a while, you know, on radio once in a while, but we've not had somebody who has held platforms this consistently and who has educated and challenged the stereotypes. So what I did was out of the ordinary. Here's this young woman from Johannesburg who grew up in Alexandra Township. So for some people, you create discomfort with who are you? And I'm showing that this field of practice, because I have a lived experience. I was a Christian, a born-again Christian. And I went into understanding who I was in terms of my connection to God, because I still believe in God. And I came to share my story of like, no, but what I was taught by religion, that this is demonic, this is evil, it's not. Because it has helped me this and this, and this is what it has done for me. So I started to become unapologetic before even radio came, before even TV came. In the corporate space, when I went back into corporate, I was unapologetic about bepping. I was unapologetic about ispandla. I was unapologetic about the beats I wear. I became clear. I was like, this has served me. Why should I hide that which has saved me? Why should I be ashamed of that which has saved me? I have become a better version of myself because I have went through Ukhuthwala. So I was like, this is beautiful. So I started to be I started making dresses from material while ngisase itwasa. I said to Togoza Koko, is it okay? Because I'm in the space and I don't like wearing layers of things. Can I make outfits? That was 2010. So when you look at me and you say Koko Yaslayer, if that's your definition of what radiance looks like, if what royalty is slaying, then define it me as, I know that for me was taking pride in who I was as an African spiritual healer. And I wanted to wear it with pride. And then the more I learned about what we were and who we were, that we were children of queens and kings that lived an opulent life. But we needed to work for that opulency. We don't say I knew but I didn't go and feel entitled, because when you feel entitled and your entitlement is not served, you might go and want to accelerate what which has not come yet. Your time has not come, because you put in, you plant, you plow the ground, you plant the seeds, you water them, you grow them. Some people have come into my life saying, the fruits are starting to boom. And you think that tree has just happened. 10 years in sangoma. Actually, next year I'm celebrating 10 years as a practicing sangoma. So it took me 10 years to get to where I am as Ukhuthwala. I started teaching from 2014, right? 2014, 2015. It took me that long to start having people follow me that much. Work, organic growth. When something grows organically, you can see that it's growing. And organic growth also comes with its own challenges. Because the challenges are lessons to be learned, are making sure the next part of your stage of growth, you have wisdom to apply. It's been very painful. It's been full of things, but I bless everything that I've experienced. Then when you just come and you want what this person has, and they can't give it to you because they've worked for it and they've ended, you then are going to say, Uthwele lo muntu. Because also we need to understand what is Ukhuthwala. There are different definitions about Ukhuthwala. Gogo Dino was understanding sonke sizala sithwele. We are born. Ukhuthwala is to carry. We are born carrying our gifts, right? We are born. That's why when children are born, is like, I am born like this, carrying my gift. So I go through the process of life needing to be able to unravel that which I was gifted at birth. I go through the process of life needing to unravel. And the process of unraveling, it's a process. It's not an act or an event. Then, boo, all these gifts appear. So we are all born sitwele ama gifts, wait. Life purposes or soul purposes to service and make well what that is not well, not to distract, destroy, impose our will upon the other for our own selfish needs. Because we do certain things because greed is the driving force, and all of us can be greedy. Are we clear? Then there's a term Ukhuthwala that's also used in Nguni culture when two lovers, those who are in a consented relationship, are wanting to elope. When they are in a consented relationship and the family doesn't support, the family is not for that, for the family's reasons, then we're going to elope. Not when an older pedophile is trying to have their way with a younger person who has not consented, who has not said yes, and then you say, "Yisiko lami, it's my culture." Let us not continuously perpetuate stereotypes that have demonized our cultural practices for our own selfish reasons, for greed, for self-preservation, for ego. So let us be very clear. Isigo, when culture was made, it was made to enable a way of life for the community, not for one person. It was in service of the collective, because African culture revolves around systems, the collective. That is what makes us who we are as Africans. I am because you are. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu sibantwana bagantu. Therefore, I knew ukuthi an injury to one is an injury to all. When something happens to my brother, it's a pain inflicted upon me. This self-hatred and this pull you down syndrome came with the system of colonization to divide and conquer us. Hence, even today, when we are trying to attempt to teach as healers, as teachers, as prayer. I don't know what I did. Oh, great. Yo, and the number of people started to go, but people will come back. Okay. I feel like I'm back now. So am I back? Yeah, but because I'm sure we're dealing about hectic things. So network interferences and all of those things that will happen. But I'm back. I'm back right now. So is everybody clear? Can I be heard? Am I seen? Am I good? Can you see me? Is it good now? Are we all good? Okay, yes, Coco is back. Yeah. No. These things, sometimes these things, interferences happen, but aluta continua. We still continue teaching because we need to be able to empower ourselves, educate ourselves, so that we can then be part of this human race, global community, because otherwise we will not be. Awesome. Okay, if you can see me, let's continue. And I lost my train of thought a little bit. I was saying, I think I pick it up from where I was saying that let's be careful in how we teach, how we educate, how we enlighten, not to continuously continue and perpetuate the colonial identities that we have been given as Africans. I mean, one is we know that the Witchcraft Act of 1957, there's one that was even passed in 18 something in the British colony long ago, regulating against what they called witch hunting, consulting witches, because we were called witch doctors and we are not witch doctors. Hence, post 1994, we said, see, we want not to be, that act needs to be abolished and we need to be called African traditional healers. Others, they call us African health practitioners, etc., etc., because we did not want to be associated with a practice which was seen as a destructor, which was seen as the dark side of things. So, Bengsa explain Ukhuthwala. So, let's go back to when I was explaining, I spoke about the eloping. Then there's this thing called Ukhuthwala, which has become quite topical. I mean, what we've seen this week is not new. it's something that keeps on coming and going. When certain things happen to certain people, then people start saying things, and people say things, and we don't know if it's true or not. From what they will say, "Ubani ushonile because begatwele," or "This has happened to this person because begatwele." We yes, it's been trending this week. And I'm not coming here, I'm coming here to educate. I'm not coming here to speak about the trend. But I'm saying that let's speak about Ukhuthwala, where people are talking about snakes, are talking about things in the houses and things doing things. And I'm not going to expand about this. I wanna readdress certain misconceptions and assumptions that are made. So because we are all born with Ama gifts, so you have to go through a process of unraveling the gifts. And when the gift is unknown or unseen or unnoticed, because when it gets too close, it starts to trouble you. It starts to create, because it's stagnant, it's not moving, it's not being used. Then you go and see sangoma to say what's going on. And sangoma says, no, there's a gift, whether the gift is to become another sangoma or the gift is to become this, or your ancestors want you to do this. Then they help unravel the gift. To unravel the gift has to happen in relation with your ancestors' permission. It has to happen in an organic way. Because to connect you to your gift so that things can unravel and happen for you, there's nothing wrong with that. To go cleanse so that you can draw on the things that are meant for you, there's nothing wrong with that. To go purify yourself of dark energies or things that have happened so that there's nothing wrong with that. Because to go activate, because there is what we call wealth activation and wealth acceleration. Ukhuthwala, that has all the things that people are describing, is what we call acceleration, moving at a pace that is not normal, wanting things that are done abnormally. So anything with abnormality has its downsides. Everything that's abnormal has its downsides. We also understand we love fast foods, but we also understand the health implications of eating fast foods. So similarly, even when you are going to want wealth to be accelerated faster rather than activated, because an activation of wealth is to work things organically in alignment, in connection with those who are gifting you the wealth. Are you following me here? So when people come to izangoma, we can't say people are coming kuyotwala. We can't say you are performing. Not everything is about ugyo accelerator. Things start with activation. Then when you don't feel satisfied, I was actually speaking to a client of mine and I was warning them. Because I said, at the pace in which you are going, cool, you're going to end up doing things on the dark side, because you can't want everything at once. You can't want to be married, get a promotion, own a gold mine. Nah. Life doesn't work like this. One thing at the time, one step at the time. That's what activation is about. It's when we can see organic growth. When you first met me, you knew I had a Honda Palette of 1986, right? That's the first time. I moved from a Honda Palette. I went and bought a Toyota Yaris. I moved from a Toyota Rise. Now I drive a 4x4. But that's what we call activation, organic growth. I stayed in Cosmos, Alex moved to Cosmos City, now I stay in Midrand. So if I go and buy a plot, you can't say organic growth. You can see which this person has a story. You can't move from point A to point Z, then Konok Shamans. You know? Konok Shamans. Unless if you won the lottery again. That's what I said. Or you wape changamahos. But we also know wealth acceleration is not sustainable. People who've won the lottery after 2 years, they lose their money. Most people do. Because it's wealth accelerated. But worth activated and end. Because you know what you're to endure. You know the hard work you're to put is preserved and has longevity. Feel me? I'm feeling myself. Remember, please, to like the video. Please remember to to share the video. Let's be, yeah. So when you are activating things, it is an organic process over time, and you only activate according to the instructions and the guidance of your ancestors, not upon what as a healer I am imposing. Because I will say to you, this is what your ancestors are saying. Do you connect? Do you relate? Do you feel it? Because even when people come to a consultation, I give guidance, but you go make a decision about when you want to come and do it. I cannot say to you, gifted, but you have not experienced anything that symbolizes that you are gifted. We're saying it, because if you don't toss, you're going to die. That's me trying to accelerate your process, not activate your process. When I say you are gifted and you don't know and there's nothing that tells you, then let me work with you to activate the gift, to help reveal and unravel the gift to you, not move you from a 0 to 100. Similarly with even wealth. I can't say Gutigini. There are people who come and we say, hey, your people don't work for people. They were used to be powerful businessmen from way back when they owned land and they owned cattle. So we need to activate that. But by activating that, I can't move you from a 0 no cattle to a 1,000,000 cattle everywhere in the country. That's impossible. Because you need to get 10, and Lozi needs to say, how are you going to take care of this? Because you need to be able to know how to take care of it, preserve it for longevity. Are you going to be self-preserving and say, this is all mine, I'm not, everybody's shut out? No. No. So when it comes to those who are then accelerating wealth, that's when we call it Ukhuthwala. Because to accelerate something, similarly, I use the analogy of fast food. There are health implications. Even Ukhuthwala, there are health implications, spiritual health implications, mental health implications, emotional health implications, physical health implications. So the consequences of those accelerations, you live with those things. So a lot of us as well, because there would not be a market yabantu abathwalisayo if there was no demand for it. I always say that most of our we are the kind of the generation that actually has a sense of entitlement, and there's reasons why to it. One is politically so. When 1994 came, we were promised free everything. We didn't have to work, but free electricity, free water, free this. That's why people will say, no, because we were taught we are poor. We are continuously perpetuating the very same thing that has led us to the bottom of the pyramid of the food chain economically as Africans, because we're taught that we are not intelligent enough, we are not smart enough, we're not hardworking enough to earn it for ourselves. Then we come and we say, free everything because you've been poor. Why can't we say, here is something, let's give you a fishing rod and teach you how to fish, versus give you free fish? Because that's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. Developmental work in the continent has not worked because it's not sustainable. You don't teach people how to fish, you give them fish. But what? Because life is a cycle. Something needs to go back. So what are you recycling back? Because when you don't teach them how to fish, they have a sense of entitlement. And they keep on wanting and wanting and wanting because they don't know what it's like to earn it. I'll give you an example in the household. I have 4 kids and we buy cereals for a month and sometimes they run out. So this morning, they said to me, cereals have run out. And I'm like, no, there is another type of cereal in there. And they said, we don't like it. I'm like, no, you put it on the list. You're going to eat the cereal until that cereal finishes. The only cereal I'm going to buy is what my mother has asked me, because mama likes muesli and my mother helps me with my kids. I said, that's it. I'm like, I'm not topping up on this and that and that. Until it finishes, we'll buy. Because that could be a sense of entitlement. We know that mama has money, so mama, I do have money. Even when I buy and they say, but mama, when are you putting it? No, I've earned my money. If I buy myself 2 bags and you want a pair of shoes, and I say, no, you're not getting because I just bought you one, but you wanted the branded ones. Darling, I have earned it. I work hard. Ngishayisa 12 sometimes, and 2 a.m. Where are you? I have worked for it. I have earned it. So the downside of social media, like anything that is new, has its own downside. Everything exists in polarity. Everything exists in polarity, or what we call duality. So with social media, people see things. So hey, you don't know what I do to get there. Will you be willing to put in the work that I put in to get the things that you are khalarelering, the things that you are liking that I'm in my life? Do not envy what other people have, because you don't know what they did. You don't know what's keeping the grass greener on the other side of the lawn. That's why we end up signing for things that accelerate wealth, because we are khaleralering. That's why they say envy is not good. Inspired by me, yes. Encouraged by me, yes. But the minute you envy, that leads to toxicity. Envy. We are very envious of other people's life because we have not done the work to unravel our gifts. We are not willing to put in the work to unravel our gifts. We want what other people have, but we don't want to put in the work. I have been a Gobela since 2016. I've been sangoma, practicing sangoma since 2011, and I have seen it. I have seen it with the students I train. I've seen it with the patients. They are not willing to work. And you say, this is hard work. Umuntu ngene phehlweni next week ufuna ukuba ugobela. Because ufuna ukuthwasa qedwe, uthwase all the things. Acceleration is greed. 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 Because you account lapha yo. Eish, kungena abantu abayi-20 kababa, ubaba a week wenza. Why wenza 50,000? I have earned that 50,000. I'm sure after this stream, I'm going to put the stream. I told you that we got paused because the institute was calling me, but they know I have a stream, so I'll call them back. Then I might see for another 2-3 hours working, post this. I am working right now. This is work, Angesh. I'm educating. The last time I did the stream, I even informed people that I've got trained healers in different places. You got work as my graduate. Isn't that work? So let's be clear. It is work, but it takes hard work. Because for me to be able to be articulated and express it and simplify things, I need to work on myself, heal what is mine so I'm not projecting. Number 2, read so that I'm empowered, I'm enlightened, I am educated. It is work. No, not every initiate can be a Kobela. Let's not even get there, please, beloveds. We are speaking about Ukhuthwala, and I'm going to open for questions just now. Let's not speak about Candice. I am making examples about putting in the work, saying that those who go and accelerate wealth, X of Ukhuthwala. And let's also be careful. Everything is neutral in nature. Money is neutral in nature. Snakes are neutral, is what we do. Because the kind of activation could be for acceleration and doing things out of consent, doing things enforcing your will, because it's what you do, is the force you put in. Fana no muti. There's different kinds of imiti. There's umuti, everybody knows it as uvela bahlege or umkanyagute, so that things can brighten up for you. But the minute you use guti, zingam kanyeli, you can turn things upside down. We have been given domination as human beings. So everything in nature sits as is what you put in. Hence we partner for izinto. So let us be very clear. Unguti, let us not make assumptions of that. When you see people are scared of snakes because snakes have been defined. I mean, snake is a symbol of gahle gahle. When you look at it in the Bible, it was of wisdom. Because it reminded Eve that she's also a physical. She's not only in the spiritual. But it's what we use snakes for that could either be for evil or bad. I used to dream of snakes before I became a sangoma. I don't see them as much anymore. But I know because snakes is about shed, because it sheds off its old skin to grow. The old has to die. And especially when it comes to things, let's also be clear about colors of things. Right? Because we can be using colors of things the same way colonizers use colors. Black is evil. The devil is dark. All this is this. You know, black snakes are evil. Sometimes seeing a black snake, it doesn't mean that. It is what it does. I always say in the dream, the context of the dream speaks to the meaning of the dream. Versus just seeing something and then concluding because you have a conditioning by society that this means this. So it's very important to also understand. Ukhuthwala, it's not unique to Africa or Africans or black people. Because there are people who do their own things. Because there are people, the richest people in the world, that do their own cultural activation things. We know Indians are part of the world, the Jewish community, the Arab community. But they do things, they activate. They do their cultural practices. So it means that there might be other people who don't want to work and honor their cultural practices, but want to activate it in other ways. Because we also know that in other communities, in Ukhuthwala Gwabo is running cartels, the drug cartel, the prostitution cartels, the human trafficking cartels. Ukhuthwala. Because Ukhuthwala is doing things outside somebody's consent. So all acts are evil. Let us not make it unique to Africans. It doesn't start now. It's something that we grew up knowing and hearing, but it comes from a place of greed and wanting to accelerate, envying what does not or is not meant for you. We all born Sprituality. We are all carrying gifts, but you need to put in the work to unravel the gifts. A child puts in a lot of work to learn how to walk, to learn how to talk, to learn how to crawl. It's work. So similarly, the gifts you've been given, you have to make sure that you put in the work. Let me open for questions. Because I'm not going to be telling you about people, they twala with this and they twala with that. I can only tell you from what I have been taught. But I don't want to put energy into that life force. Because I think this week has made it clear that there are different ways that which people twala, and those ways have deadly consequences. So what are your questions? I am here to enlighten and educate. And say, Uguti, when you accelerate wealth, the consequences are deadly. Because the minute you go, what you have earned and accumulate goes with you, because it was attached to you as an individual. See, do you see? It was not a collective thing. Yeah, can somebody, that's a good question. Suffer, yes, because it leaves a dark cloud over, because you have brought a dark cloud, because other people, remember Twala, they have Ukhuthwala Twebula Madlos. So they need to have that particular ancestor who's meant to be a guardian, who's meant to be the one who protects, and they tend that person to be against everybody else except for themselves. So the implications do affect the family. Then you have to go and as a family to do something about it, to readdress and correct those things. A cleansing ritual might, and don't ask me what kinds of cleansing rituals, because Ukhuthwala, it's one of the deadliest, most toxic forms of witchcraft. So there's no way that I can tell you this is 1, 2, 3 that you're going to do it. You will need to consult a healer, see what type of Ukhuthwala they used, so that whatever that, because abanye batugu bapahlamanza mnyama ekhaya. So meaning that they've turned the ancestors of the family towards them and against everybody else. So if nizotugu ephahla, you are partnering for things to be against you all the time. That's why I even said when I did the Phahla 101 that this is just generic. If it's not working, go consult, because sangoma sees things in the spirit world that your naked eye might not be seeing. To say you don't do this, you need to do this first, because by doing this, you are actually uvuselela, you are reawakening the dark forces. I'm trying to get questions. I don't understand Ukhuthwala ngedlozi. What do you mean? Koko, what about Ukhuthwala with umuti? No, I mean, when you're using, remember I explained earlier on, Uguti, as long as there is no will imposed upon, as long as there's no human blood required, and as long as you are not compromising the well-being and wellness of other people, is not for you. So you can still uting twele ngomuti kuphela ngisebenzisa impande, but is by you doing what you're doing, are your kids being affected by it? Because abantu abatwele as well, you know, deformities are common in the family from abantu abatwele, because it's either it's a life exchange or a deformity. There has to be an exchange of some sort, because it's a transaction. So you would see that we're now all right, but everyone else is abnormal or something. Everyone's like everyone, everything is falling apart, but you're the only one who's progressing. So let's be very clear. When usebenzisa imithi, man, I can give you a list of 5 imithi emhlophe that if ufuna ukuthi kube nenhlanhla kube yini, you can use uvela bahleka umkhanya kude, uvumo omhlophe, uvula kuvaliwe. You know what I'm saying? Imithi emhlophe. But if you're using those imithi and uthwala ngayo, ukthwala phela, that we are talking about, it's about fast tracking things and acceleration. Means there has to be something out of the norm, something inorganic, something abnormal to make sure that you move from 0 taxis to 1,000 taxis in a year. Growth is organic. Umntwana aga moving from 0 age to 12 months. Uti 0, 1 month, 2 months. So similarly is wealth. When you are building wealth, unless if you were born into a wealthy family already. But we can't know you to uhamba with nothing. I said except when it's the lotto, but it's still also accelerated wealth. Hence a lot of people don't keep their earnings. Even with gambling. Because it gives you instant, it's like, it's easy, it's easy money. I can make it easily. You don't preserve it and it's not sustainable. Because you have not ended. I'm not taking generic questions. I'm taking about Ukhuthwala. Koko, what can one do if your grandmother Uthuele, but you have an ancestor who's her late husband wants you to take his gift? What do? You'll have to see a sangoma. That's a very complex one. I wouldn't know what you need to do. You'll need to go see a sangoma because there is cleansings called ukugeza amahlozi, where you need to cleanse, especially if you've had people who've tempered with the dark side before you take in your gift. So maybe that is what and there's different mutis and animals that are slaughtered. Goats are slaughtered for cleansing, but they can also be used to make as sacrifices and offerings to people. That's why I don't say gimme guti. We make sacrifices, we make offerings. An offering is to the collective. An offering does not done by you alone into a secret room. There's a difference between secrecy, privacy, and secrecy. Sacredness is about protecting the practice or the community. Hence, I don't share sacred information because I'm going to jeopardize the practice. Secrecy is when I'm not wanting to share things because they protect me as a person. Privacy is what the two of us agree that is not going to go out of these four walls of the room. It's between two people. Let's keep our matters private. But secrecy is normally when somebody's doing wrong and they want to be protected. But sacredness is about we are all agreeing that we're going to protect the community of practice. I hope that is helpful. I saw a question. How do you protect yourself from Ukhuthwala? Let me take a few questions. When a sangoma owns a snake, what does it represent? Tokozamkhulu. Can someone use your luck themselves, and how can you tell with how having to consult can even... Okay. You see, some of the questions you're asking are very specific to certain predicaments. I'm going to ask you, Guti, what heads for you to go and do a spiritual consultation if your life is not working out and you're trying to figure things out? Why? How come you can't invest in saying, I need to fix my life and I'm going to invest in my life being fixed, that you think I'm just going to answer you, then you can go do a DIY? Ukhuthwala, there is no do it yourself. You would require, and not everybody is gifted in undoing what was done. Not everybody is gifted. I had a patient I saw a couple of years ago, and it was very scary for me because I have not encountered. We were sitting because I said, Gogo, gunespogo, the gunendo ekona, there's something there. And he said, yes, there is. And she was like, no. She was young, 26-year-old, said, Gogo, I own every car. I live in a big mansion, but nobody visits me. That house is cold. That house is cold. Nobody comes. And I was married into a polygamous relationship solely for the purposes to feed the snake. And she said it comes. And it does what it does. And every person I try, Nami, because I never get to see my husband. My life is lonely. I'm rich. I can buy and own everything. But my life is very lonely because every time I'm eating as Jonja and I try have someone on the side, the men die. That's how deadly Ukhuthwala is. Because she was married into that relationship because they needed to accelerate wealth. So be careful of the things you sign up for. Be very clear. That's why a spiritual consultation is important, even before you get married to somebody. Let me just say this, beloveds. Don't be excited by the externals and the looks. Go your shoulder. Is there spiritual compatibility? But again about this man you are marrying, about this woman you are marrying. What family are you marrying into? What ancestral lineage are you marrying into? Because some of us do carry a lineage of abatagati. So you are signing up. The next thing you marry somebody to do, your things go bad. Not necessarily that that person is bewitching you, but you've married into a family that carries dark energies. Because those things do exist, whether you want to believe in what this person, what the trend was saying, but Ukhuthwala nobuthakathi exist. Just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. To not be excited by love and goosebumps and feeling things. I have shared my experiences a lot about I was once targeted by a man. Just speak. It would not hurt for you. Ukuyoshola ukuthi, can I do this? But in our pants. Coco, can someone use your luck for themselves, and how can you tell without having to consult? Can they even do so and not be caught out? Can somebody use your luck? People can do anything if you are not connected and aligned to your ancestors. You are vulnerable. Hence, it's important for every African child to have a spiritual healer. One person you go to once a year, like you have a medical doctor, like you have a psychologist if you are having a mental issue, that you go to consult and see where things stand with yourself. Because some of us were raised, I became Christian at 12, but before I became Christian, I know my grandfather, every year there used to be a inyanga that comes, or a sangoma that, I don't know what that person was, but there would be somebody who comes for a cleansing and for a protection. So we are protected from energies, just because there's dark energies exist, they're there, because it is a duality, dark and light. So some things are not even sent your way, but because you are open and you have no protections, well away. And I don't want to also, my past few months experiences in lockdown, ubuthakathi. Because remember, abathakathi are people who are insecure and have no sense of value and worthiness. So they want to do it. Even abathwalayo, they have huge insecurities. So they think money is, because money gives them an illusion. They actually have, if you look at ubuthakathi and narcissism, it's similar. Next, it's the same things. So people who are narcissistic can easily become witches because they have a false sense of importance, grandiosity. So if they don't feel the grandiosity, they'll do whatever else. Hence, have you seen people who have fastly accelerated wealth? They want everyone to see when they buy a new car, everyone needs to know about their lifestyle. There's nothing sharing about nyabonga for things. I know, Mina. Before certain things, and remember when I bought my car that I drive right now, when I bought the car that I drive, a Fortuner, and I was like, yo, but don't post. And I didn't post it. It's not even on my Instagram page. It's not on my, and it doesn't mean, Guti, you can post when you feel like posting because Coco said no. Certain things, Idlozi knows what it's keeping away or in check in us, because it could be my ego excited to say, yabona mina. I used to drive a Yaris, and look, I moved from a Yaris to this. So just know, people who easily do that are narcissists because they want to. Narcissists have deep insecurities about themselves. So those things are actually all interconnected. My next conversation with Anel would be about abantu abathwele. We had it when we did a stream, Not Rejoice, Unyati, about abantu abathwele emasontweni, how they have this thing. So you need to start identifying the people you are in relationships with, because this could be clear indications. That's why I'm saying spiritual compatibility is important. So what you need to do for yourself to protect yourself, one, when you are in a relationship with somebody, it doesn't hurt to go check with, hey, kumenjan, not to check how to keep them, not to check how to make them yours. That's utagat. But just to show that, especially when you start to feel unease. Uneasiness is your first sign of something is not right here. You know what I'm saying? You can't meet somebody for the first time and they want to bring the moon and the stars to you. You're still dating. That's another sign to be careful of. You're still getting to know each other. So they can't be bringing, yes, they can spoil you, of course, with gifts and things. But it can't be that they want excessive things. But what is the exchange? What are they going to transact? Because a loving, organic relationship, you should be intimate when you feel ready to be intimate. You should be committing into a marriage when you feel ready to be committing. It can't be like, no. Mina, no. A relationship should be mutually agreed. you know. So let's also be very careful when we don't know people's backgrounds and we don't know people's where they began their lives. Just because now they're busy sharing things and their lives on socials, then we say batwele. Because we need to also decolonize our minds, because we have been colonized to believe that Black people cannot excel at anything. Black people cannot accumulate wealth. Black people cannot be successful. So let's not say that now when people are living those lives and are saying this is how they live their lives, then we say batwele. Because we are then saying we are not worth it, because we are not, that we are telling our young people that, hey, Bantu, you don't deserve to work hard. And working hard is so, but when things don't add up, then we say those things. You know, I mean, I buy I love luxury bags. I was introduced by a gift that I was given by a patient and a student. They bought me those bags. I was like, wow, these bags are beautiful. But I was like, I can't afford going to these luxury stores every week to buy them, until I found there are people who sell pre-owned second-hand. And I'm not ashamed to say most of my bags are second-hand. And they're still in good quality. Akunalang phuke khona makehla. There's no way my ego is not, my image is not tinted to ruin. And when they tell me that some clients will not want anything, they don't even want to be known, I'm like, okay, maybe it's their privacy. But then to go and pretend you were at a Gucci store and taking pictures and videos, hi guys. We need to be real with ourselves. A lot of us who are going and doing extreme things of acceleration, we lack sense of love for self. We feel inadequate. We feel unworthy. That's why we'll do whatever it takes to get to a place of worthiness, yet we don't want to work and heal that which is eating away at us. Because something is eating away at us. We come from traumatic experiences. We come from very poor backgrounds. Therefore, we don't want to face the demons in us, but we want to go and accelerate wealth at the expense of others. I said, one who has been victimized, if you don't heal from victimhood, you can move from being a victim to a perpetrator. Because when you look at those people who do things at the expense of wealth acceleration, Ukhuthwala, now we've got a new term. Ukhuthwala that is toxic is wealth acceleration. There's a difference between wealth acceleration and wealth activation. Wealth activation is organic growth over a period of time. Let's not watch people on the Instagram live. People don't show you what happens behind the scenes. But we cannot say those who choose to be private about things, then we paint them with the brush or they are blessings or whatever. At the end of the day, people have a choice. And they make their choices. We come to teach and educate and enlighten. You know, I did watch the stream. And there's certain things I agree with what she was sharing. But there's certain things that I don't agree with. But she's teaching from what she's been taught. And she made it clear she's not Isango. And that's the thing about when you are teaching on a subject as complex as Ukhuthwala, but you are not even in the field of practice, you can find yourself be caught up. And that's why I said that it takes me time sometimes to share certain things, because I have not accumulated knowledge, understanding, and experience, because instead of trying to teach, I might actually be moving people into the dark side of things. So I will speak next time about the different types of ubuthathaka when you've experienced ubuthathaka as an experience. Because manje, I wanted to shed light about Ukhuthwala so that you can understand. With the minute we cannot say abantu bathwala ezangomeni. These people call themselves izangoma. Yes, I agree. And yes, they might have been gifted. Yes, but the minute in our principles of engagement or code of ethics that is general across the board, the minute you start doing things against other people's consent wills, you are not classified as isangoma. You are classified as umthakathi. Where is your conscience knowing that this poor man is drinking somebody else's things because you want to keep them for money? You're not wanting to work for your money. You're wanting money to come easily because you're feeling a sense of entitlement. That's ego, that is greed, that is narcissistic. Yeah, no, I hardly watch TV, beloved, so I don't know what you're talking about what's on TV. When you don't have a sense of love for self, if you don't love yourself, you'll never feel good enough about yourself. And you'll do whatever it takes to come to a place of grandiosity. Because when people grandiosity, where everybody, that you have to be the center of attraction, you have to be the it and the this, you do extreme things. You do extreme things to be loved, to be for attention. We are not willing to put in the work. Success carry many failures because failures are wisdom that can be applied as a tool of success. Most successful people, their stories come with many fails. What is your story of failing? Where have you failed now that we see that you own 100 cars? And like I said, Uguti, it's not only exclusive to Africans. Because we know that there's a lot of people who are wealthy. But it's called dirty money, in English. It's the money is dirty. Ukhuthwala. You have accelerated your wealth. You have not went and worked for it. You have went and you know, you need to watch some, there's a series called Blacklist on Netflix. That opened my, I was like, what? There's actually people who run the world behind what we see as people running behind the world. These things sometimes are not just conspiracy theories. There's some truth in it. There is some truth in those things. So let's not, as Africans, continue making things topical that perpetuate stereotypes about who we are. Not every person who is, you know, not every person who is black has tenderized their way, meaning they got their wealth through tender. They got their way through corruption. They got their way through sleeping with somebody. Those things do happen, yes, but they are not exclusive to Africans. They happen everywhere. Blacklist is on Netflix. You should also watch The Queen of the South, where it shows you about the drug cartels and the human trafficking and how rich people who own a lot of things, they actually have underground drug cartels that are running. So we call it dirty money. Ukhuthwala is dirty money. So it's not exclusive to us. But do you hear other people bringing each other down when they celebrate each other? They support each other. We need to start to change the narrative about our identity. Yes, we need to call each other to accountability when we do wrong against each other. But we do that more so than we actually celebrate each other. We pull each other down more so. The minute one of us starts to get a deal of some sort, yeah, uchole kanjani, this person is sleeping with this one. Why are we like that? What we speak and put energy into becomes our reality. We need to start asking ourselves, black people, the reason we are where we are at, and we can blame our colonizers, you know, we can blame so many. We need to start taking responsibility, because see all the hashtags on Twitter, they are not for things, they are always against something. Look at how this thing trended, because people were so, you know, people were so clued into the stream, because some of those people were not clued into the stream to be educated. They wanted tips on how to go and do the very same thing that you are being warned not to do, because you are compromising your people's lives. Can we start to trend for positivity? Can we make t-shirts like this trend? Who has healed a whole family of coronavirus trend. Can we start speaking positivity? What we speak into becomes our reality. And let's not, when somebody does these things, and criticize them as un-African. You know? Because we can be, we still have a long way to walk as Africans. Because we would judge people like, no, but you're wearing a weave, you can't. No, man. Your Africanness is not in your hair. It's not. You even have false ideas about what is African and what is not African. Because the very same things you might be fighting, you might be still continuing, perpetuating stereotypes of colonization. Let's be very clear. Why can't we become celebrate and have 10 ovations for goodness of our people? Why can't we say hashtag my Coco Rocks versus you want to go and report me online because I didn't. We are very quick to feed off negativity and toxicity. Hence, we live in a world that is full of violence, full of anger, full of war, full of corona, because it is our consciousness as a people. Ukhuthwala, I don't know what's really funny with what I'm saying, because this is a serious matter. That's why I'm saying, for me, I am for things. That's why I wasn't engaging with anyone against Gogo. What is your hey man, my opinion matter. What is your take? Let's make Gogo Gogo, do you know? Yes, let's speak for each other, not against each other. When somebody's doing well, ask them how have you gotten here? But be willing to put in the work. Don't want to be mentored, but you don't want to be a junior, but you want to get into seniorship. We don't want to walk through the staircases. We want to take the elevator. That's why easy way up, easy way down. Because when you take the staircases, you understand what to watch for next time so that you don't trip on the fourth staircase. You understand that you need to take a break because you can't go to step. It creates deeper understanding when you are activating versus accelerating. Yes, divinity, not division. Let's speak love and light about each other. Let's spread the love. Yes, let's hold each other accountable. I'm for holding people accountable. But we hold people accountable with no context. We become critics, not feedback givers. Feedback, it's loving. It's about how to improve. Whereas criticism is to say, yeah, everyone who's on Instagram, all these sangomas, all of a sudden there's an uprise. Yes, there's an uprise because Mother Africa has been raped. Mother Africa has been demonized, beloveds. Mother Africa has been told that she's dark. So there's many of us who are called into healing because we need to readdress the injustices. We need to return our people to a sacred womb, but we can't accelerate those things because we are taking them away from the sacredness of what our work is about. Let's be careful as we teach not to continuously uttering and perpetuating stereotypes. Let's not reinforce conditions and early messages that have left us fragmented and divided as a nation. When somebody is doing well, let's celebrate them. When Batu is doing well, do you know where he started his story and his store, Sepatu? Ekaracha Gubo probably. I don't know the story. But let's not say Ukhuthwala because now he's doing so well for himself. And allow people to make choices. If he wants a priority, he owns this and he wears this as well. Let's allow that. But we are so consumed by social media that we don't like ourselves, that we are busy envying other people's. That we are consumed by likes and followings and things like that. That we have forgotten ourselves. We have forgotten to work hard. I was born in 1981. Trust me, when I'm part probably of the generation that I knew that I had to earn things. I don't have a sense of entitlement. From school, primary school, I went to school in a plastic until March, until second term. So I taught how to sell sweets so that I can buy myself a school bag. We used to buy stationery in primary, not what you get now for free. When I went to a black-only school, because I went to schools during apartheid. So I used to go. My mother was a domestic worker, so my mother couldn't afford things. So I made a choice at that age, beloved. Because it's either I'm going to date a sugar daddy, which we now call blessers. These things are not new to us. They're just different names. They just get repackaged. But we always make a choice. Because I knew what I'm not going. My peers were dating people who made quick money. And at those times, taxi drivers just came into the market. So it was an easy way of making money. I made a choice, but I'm not. I made a choice, but I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to do that. I was a laughing stock. I was called all sorts of names. At high school, I used to sell sweets. I used to help Umamoteng sama plate at high school, beloved. And my peers would laugh at me and call me all sorts of names. I used to be bullied in high school because I wasn't trending. I wasn't I wasn't the most popular kid in high school. I was popular because of academics, but I was hated by boys because I was smart, and I wasn't supposed to be smart because we had stereotypes that black girls shouldn't be smart. And I still had a calling, beloveds. And I struggled through my life, but I didn't use my calling as an excuse. I still pushed through life. I worked my way to where I am, and that I'm very unapologetic. I said one day I will tell my story, and bits by bits in the streams, I'm giving you a glimpse of what has built the brand Gakoko Dineo. Sweat, hard work, tears, betrayals, hey, all sorts of things. You fall down, fall looking up so you can get up. Don't fall looking down. Beloveds, I used to go to because I almost got, I had 3 attempted rapes. So GBV doesn't start now. With social media, things have became easily accessible. But these things, the societal ills, Ukhuthwala is not new. We know these things existed. But with social media, it has given us access to information. But you make a choice. Because I could have easily made a choice. I was conscious with me. Now, I'm going to have all my kids with, and I was very intentional. I'm not going to fall pregnant. And yes, when I fell pregnant at a young age, I had a termination and I took responsibility for it. I was like, I'm not going to go again. And, this time I'm going to make sure I do what I need to do to make sure I don't conceive. Remember to like the video, beloved. Share it as well. Today's the longest stream we've done. But I'm saying that a lot of us see others and we envy because we are capable. Everyone is capable to achieve. Everyone is capable of success. But not everyone is willing to put in the work. Not everyone is wanting to roll up the sleeves and dig the dirt on the ground. Then you go and be envious and you can trash and paint everyone with the same brush. Yes, we do know, because I do get and work with people who come and want things of acceleration, want the person to keep on telling them their money and, give me money all the time. I'm like, please take your money and leave. Take your money and leave. I don't work that way because I know what hard work it's like. I worked hard to get where I am. Because certain healers, some things, yismilo sako, your own principles. I even get told by the gogos in the space to say, go your pumula. You don't rest, you work, you overwork. But I know what it's like. So that's why I said, I can't afford to go to Diamond Walk every week and buy. I don't have, it's not going to be realistic for me. I love it, but there should be. And then I bought secondhand stuff and some of the people even tag me when they post. I don't, whether you want to, So just know that we have to earn our way to success. It's a ladder, it's a staircase, because you are taught to earn success so it can be sustainable, it can have longevity, because easy come, easy go, beloveds. Oh, the jacket is, they're called Lozi _ Mwanabadimu _ somewhere. I checked them yesterday. I got this gift from Lozi Mwanabadimu. Check them on Instagram. It was a gift. Thank you kindly. I get all these beautiful gifts. I'm very grateful and I'm very appreciative. And people gift me, and not everybody gives me to post. I need to be honest. They just say, Coco, we appreciate your work. We're just giving back to you as a token of appreciation, as a token of love. So understand that these are genuine, but I feel like I need to wear it. I need to share it, because you realize, you notice when I'm doing my live streams that I'm going to save on YouTube, I'm wearing some sort of, this is from Ditala, but I bought these earrings, and even this ring I brought from Ditala. A lot of the stuff I also buy. I don't get these freebies from people. When I get them, I appreciate them, So yes, I'll post the link. I'll post the link, beloved. I'll share it on my social media page. So I'll post the link, because if somebody gives back, you give back. So this black on black hate must come to an end. That's why when we are in the space, I do not accept negativity, criticism, and judgment. This is not where we kiki, ha, 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 ha. It's not. This is a space of love and light. And when we are enlightened and educated, we know better, so let's do better. Let's now do better. One thing we know, when you go to a person who imposes and wants you to do things out of consent of the person you are in a relationship with, ufuna ukukunika izinto to keep things and do things against other people's will, they no longer be seen and classified as healers, they seen as abathakathi. Ngoba umelaphi uyalungisa kahlakazi. Umelaphi uyahlanganisa kahlukanisi. But you cannot hlanganisa, you cannot bring two people together whereas the other one is absent in the meeting. So let us be very clear of that. Number 2 that you need to take away. We are all born sitwele. We need to go and activate the gifts we've been given. And we need to put in the work to earn it, because it's going to have longevity and sustainability way past your lifetime. But when you are going to want to accelerate it, you are going to also want things that are not meant for you. Because not everybody is meant to be a CEO. Not everybody is called to be a business owner. Not everybody is called to be a forex trader. Not everybody is called to be a sangoma. Not everybody is called to be a gobela. So if you are accelerating things, greed gets in the way and you end up wanting what is not meant for you. That's why you end up doing things as the accelerator, utwala, uhamba, umosha impilo zabantu, because now you are wanting what is not meant for you. How do you know who you can trust? You know, recommendations are always very good. When you go into a healer space, be present. Sit with your feeling. Your feeling is God's voice speaking to you. Your feeling is your intuition. Sit, be in tuned. This is my things, my principles. When a healer starts to impose their way on you, when they start to make threats, that's manipulation. That if you don't do this, you will die. I can inform you, but I can't impose you. You know, I can inform you, but I can't impose upon you. I can tell you, Guti, your life is not going to work out if you don't honor. But remember, because we are activating something in you, so it's organic. I was consulting somebody who found out for the first time they have a calling, but the things I was telling them is what they experienced, and they said they kind of have known. And I said, we are going to activate and connect you with your ancestors so they can unravel the gift. Not for me to give you a gift. You come gifted. You know? So, yeah, I feel like my brain, and I'm getting hungry. It's been a long stream. Wow, it's almost 10, but it was much important. Please like, please share. Give me feedback about, was this insightful? Was this educational? Because my teachings are not to scare people, not to frighten you people. Angela, one thing I want to leave you with, do not be scared of umthakathi. A witch is human, who has a false sense belief of they have supernatural powers because they have accelerated things that gives them that false sense of identity. A witch is human. They have a big ego believing they are more powerful than other people, but they prey on the vulnerable. They prey on the people who feel also insecure, people who don't feel, because when you are intact in yourself, protect yourself by seeking your worth outside material things. Protect yourself by seeking your worth by loving yourself first. Protect yourself. That is the biggest protection before we even get to emit. Do the work, beloved. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Love and light. So what's that?